Ritigliano on the other sideline. And of course, Ritigliano may not have that good a record, but he's after the Dallas Cowboys today.
Ready for the kickoff. The Cowboys to return. The Browns in their brown uniforms with the orange and white trim. And we're set from Irving, Texas. Steve Cox. And back comes Ron Fellows to the 28-yard line. Fellows from the University of Missouri, tackled by Curtis Weathers of the Browns. So on the field, the Cowboys with Danny White at quarterback. He has Tony Dorsett, Ron Springs as running backs. The receivers, Tony Hill, Landry lauding Hill for his play both in the preseason, regular season, the all-time pass catcher, Cowboy history. Drew Pearson, the tight end, Doug Crosby, won the starting job over Billy Joe Dupree. Donovan, Richards, Rafferty, Peterson, and Cooper, the offensive line. First down at the 28-yard line. On the quick out, and it's complete to Pearson for short yardage at the 33-yard line. Second down and 5. 48, Lawrence Johnson in on the tackle for Cleveland. Defensively, Harris and Bradley and Robinson, the front three for the Browns. They're linebackers, and they feel that this is one of the strengths of the Cleveland club. Banks and Cousineau, we talked about them, leading tackler the last 5 years. Ambrose in the middle along with Bill Cowher. Cornerbacks are Johnson and Dixon with Burrell and the veteran Clarence Scott at safety. Second down and 5. Each club with 2 wins and a loss coming into this Thanksgiving Day. Ron Springs across the 35, and it appears to be close to a first down near the 38-yard line before number 50, Tom Cousineau, can make the tackle for Cleveland.
Cleveland Browns were talking about the difficulty they had getting ready for this game. Not so much a matter of time, which was hard enough in itself, but they also had rain and sleet and a very muddy field to practice on. Coach Ritigliano not making any excuses for his team. They're out here. They feel they have a fair shot at these Dallas Cowboys.
It's short of the first down by less than a yard. Third down, tight formation for Dallas. That's a good conversion rate, over 50% for the Cowboys. In behind Cosby, and they get the first down at the 40. Ron Springs, the ball carrier.
Dick, one of the unusual things that we will see on defense for these Cleveland Browns today is Chip Banks going down from his linebacking position to a down position in pass rushing situations. Actually moves in a defensive end. And although he's only 230, 235 pounds, he's quick enough and strong enough to give the big defense, our offensive tackles, a run for their money.
Banks wears number 56 and leads the Browns with 3 sacks in their first 3 games. First down at the 40. Play action. White to Hill. Out of bounds. Complete at the 47 of the Browns.
Danny White passing again on first down. 2 first down situations, 2 passes. 13 yards on the pickup by White as he faked to Dorsett into the line and picks out Tony the Thrill Hill. And what a fine pass. Hill had gotten himself open on the far side in the gap in that zone, carried it out of bounds for the first down.
Hill from Stanford, the leading receiver for the Cowboys. That is his 16th catch. The Browns have not allowed a touchdown in the first half thus far in 3 games. Here comes Dorsett, 40, and to the 35, and a first down for Tony Dorsett.
Dorsett breaking outside, but what a great block by by Tony Hill, number 80. He just leveled the linebacker coming out to give Dorsett room to make that fine run. Quick look at it for yourselves. You'll see Hill come all the way across the field. You're looking at him there. Now watch the shot he'll give right here. That's Clarence Scott, number 22. He just leveled him.
First down, Cowboys. With the opening kickoff, they're to the Cleveland 35-yard line. Springs, 5. He gets 8 yards before Cousineau can drag him down. 2 former Buckeyes involved in that contact.
We talked about the new faces in this lineup, Cousineau and Banks. You get a chance to see number 50, Cousineau, right there, head-to-head. Howard Richards, the man who is banging on him. There comes Banks in from the outside.
So on 2nd and 2 at the Cleveland 27, White sends his two wide receivers, Pearson and Hill, to the right. Springs to the left, and Dorsett gets the first down. An average back would have been tackled for a 3-yard loss. Dorsett turns it into a 4-yard gain and a first down.
Tony Dorsett nursing a sore toe. He has the equivalent of what they call a turf toe. It's from an old injury. As a matter of fact, he dropped a mirror on his foot of all things. But it has given him some fits. Did not practice the early part of the week, but still with such incredible acceleration. I don't think he knows how fast he can run.
Well, he makes you tackle air, as you saw on that replay. Drew Pearson to the right, Hill to the left. First down at the 23 of the Browns. First possession of the game, and White looking for 6. Almost intercepted by Lawrence Johnson, who has Cleveland's 2 interceptions this year. Good reaction to the ball by Johnson.
Ron Bolton, the normal corner that you've seen for years on the left side of that Cleveland defense, has been replaced by Lawrence Johnson. And Johnson here showing fine speed as he makes up the difference to knock that ball away from Drew Hill. Quick look inside at the kind of protection that Danny White had. Quick pass, but plenty of time, and as you said, Dick, just an excellent defensive play.
Drew Pearson, who has a touchdown in each of the first 3 Dallas games and looking for 4 for 4, denied by Johnson. 2nd and 10, Dorsett to the 15-yard line. A gain of 7 more before Hanford Dixon, number 29, the cornerback from Southern Mississippi, can make the stop.
See Drew Pearson, number 88, talking to Coach Landry. He'll carry the play onto the field, give it to Danny White. White, of course, will call a play, and they'll go from there.
Crowd of 65,000 at Vasella, but there are a lot of empty seats at Texas Stadium. They had over 13,000 no-shows for their game on Sunday as they beat Tampa Bay, and at the moment there are at least that many empty seats today. 3rd down and 2. A long 2. First shotgun for White. On the blitz, and he can't find Dorsett, and that was Chip Banks, and how quickly Banks, that rookie linebacker, was on top of White and forced him to throw prematurely, and that stops the Dallas drive. Field goal unit comes on.
Quick look at Danny White. Now watch from the outside of your picture, blitzing to the inside with incredible speed, and that's the kind of thing that Chip Banks can do for that Cleveland defense. He was on top of Danny White before he had a chance to get that football away.
A 32-yard field goal attempt by Rafael Septien. He is 1 for 3 this year. All-Pro last season. Call it 33 yards. And it is no good. He misses to the right side. So the Cowboys, with an impressive drive, they are stopped inside the Cleveland 20, and then Septien misses wide to the right. The drive lasted nearly 5 minutes with no score. Bryson on the right side. Second and 8. Pruitt on his first carry, and the big fullback is out to about the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Defensively, Dallas Cowboys, that flex defense, one of the few 4-man defensive lines left. Jones, Dutton, White, and Martin, all familiar household names, with Hegman, Runig, and Brown. Some changes at linebacker. D.D. Lewis gone, retired. Everson Walls, Dennis Thurman, Barnes, and Downs. 3 free agents and an 11th round draft pick are the 4 deep men for Dallas. Walls, of course, led the NFL as a rookie in interceptions with 11 last year. 3rd down, Pruitt doesn't make it. Anthony Dickerson, 51, was the man who invaded the backfield, slowed down Pruitt, and then there were plenty of white shirts to help out.
The great strength of this Dallas team, of course, is against the running game. And if you're going to beat them, you have to throw the ball. You have to be able to throw it on 1st and 10. You have to throw it on 2nd and medium yardage and 3rd and short.
Ron Fellows will be at the other end as Steve Cox with a 38.5-yard average. Will kick to Fellows, who stands at the 28. Fellows tackled as he catches the ball at the 30-yard line. Excellent coverage. Number 23 for the Cleveland Browns, Mark Kofensis. He's a rookie from the University of Hawaii, home up in the state of Washington. A 42-yard punt and no return. Timeout here in Irving, Texas, midway through the first quarter. No score.
When a business grows, it often grows out of control.
Back in Irving, Texas, where there is no score. Cleveland, the leader overall in this series. Most of their wins coming early on in the 60s, and were the opponents of the Cowboys in the very first Thanksgiving Day game hosted by Dallas. This is their 15th now. Dallas won that first game, and they're favored to win today. Fumble by White, and he's covered immediately by Chip Banks, and Banks was in on the quarterback once again. The rookie from Southern California, an All-American, led the Trojans in tackles as a junior and a senior, and was the third player picked in last spring's draft behind Ken Sims and Johnny Cooks.
They tell me that he drew the biggest pair of shoulder pads ever issued by the Cleveland Browns. What a build. And he can run.
That covers a lot of great names that had great upper bodies. Second down and long, a little reverse to Springs, 30, and he's to the 33-yard line. Number 51, Eddie Johnson, could not make the tackle. Tom Cousineau ranging laterally, and that is one of his many strengths, his ability to get to the ball carrier on the sidelines to make the tackle.
Cousineau, a very dedicated player. In fact, they say he brings his lunch out there. He spends an awful lot of time with the films, preparing himself. Outstanding player in the Canadian League for 3 years, and they did. I asked one of the players where Cousineau was. They said, look for a guy with a big bulge in his back pocket.
Yes, he's been paid well. Rutigliano takes out 4 men and puts 4 speedier linebackers and defensive backs on a pass situation, 3rd and 7. White, incomplete, looking for Dorsett, and he one-hopped him at the 40-yard line. So the fans grumble a bit here in Texas as the punting team comes on.
Chance to watch Tony Dorsett doing something else that he does very well, running a pass pattern. He'll go down, take a little inside move right there, and drive outside. Judson Flint, number 20, the man who's on top of him. But Danny White just didn't have enough time. It was Banks again who had his hand in Danny White's face.
Again, the Browns have not allowed a touchdown in the first half yet this year, and only 3 points total in the first 2 quarters. Danny White, averaging 41.7, hits a beauty. That's rookie Dwight Walker watching it kick out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Dwight Walker from Nicholls State, the return man. White, not only a fine quarterback, but an outstanding kicker. Cleveland will start from the 19-yard line when we return. 7 minutes and 13 seconds remaining, first quarter. Interception for a touchdown. Beat the Lions today, 13-6. We have no score midway through the first quarter. Cleveland from its 19. Good play action. Sight to Newsom. What a catch at the 37-yard line by Ozzie Newsom of Alabama.
An 18-yard reception by Ozzie Newsom, number 82. There were 3 Dallas Cowboys on Newsom. Watch the pass develop. Newsom will be breaking to the outside on the left-hand side of your screen. There you see the 3 Cowboys, and Newsom takes a perfectly thrown ball, but it had to be out in front of him. If it had been behind, there was a chance for an interception. Bob Brunig, Michael Downs, and Mike Hegman, the 3 defenders for the Cowboys.
What a player. Newsom, in 4 years in Cleveland, he's caught 213 passes. From the 37. Quick pass to Charles White, who scrambles away to the 40-yard line. And White, almost maintaining his balance, had some running room downfield. Another former All-American from Southern California, the 1979 Heisman Award winner. We have 2 Heismans pitted against each other today. today. Dorsett, who won it 3 years prior to White.
We talked about Randy White. There he is. Watch him now working on the offensive guard, Robert Jackson. Coming quickly out of his stance. He's going to try and put the squeeze on the quarterback here. Jackson doing a good job there of holding him out, really banging at him.
Back to live action. Sipe going long to Feature, but way off the mark. Feature had the inside taken away by Dennis Thurman, the Cowboy cornerback, and so Sipe had only one choice to keep it away from the defense, and Feature wasn't looking for it there.
This is the kind of situation that Sam Mertigliano wanted to avoid. It's 3rd and long. The Cowboys will use a nickel defense. They'll run 5, 6 defensive backs into the game, and of course with that big defensive line, with the problems we described to you, they can really wreak havoc on Brian Sipe. He needs time to throw that football.
Marty Schottenheimer talking to his defensive crew as they anticipate their return to the game. 3rd down and 7 from the 40. Full blitz and incomplete. Intended for Feature as Dennis Thurman. It appeared that both cornerbacks were coming on the blitz, and Sipe slow getting up as Thurman got to him just as he released the ball.
Sipe is finally getting off the ground, but he took a helmet right in the breadbasket as Thurman just leaped through the air and hit him. You get an idea why these quarterbacks come out of a Sunday ball game or a Thursday game in this case with some real aches and pains. You won't see the finale of that hit, but you get the general idea.
Merlin out of the shotgun. That's a new wrinkle for the Cleveland Browns.
Certainly is. It's something they haven't done before, and if Sipe has his way, maybe they won't do it again.
Fellows inside his 20. Steve Cox with a beautiful high kick. Fellows at the 18. 25 to the 32-yard line. A courageous and successful return by Ron Fellows. Mike Whitwell, a rookie from Texas A&M. Bill Jackson, a rookie from North Carolina, collaborated on the tackle. Timeout. 5:27 left, first quarter. He's to the 40-yard line. An 8-yard gain before Curtis Weathers, number 55, can make the hit.
Excellent block by Springs on the play. Ron leading the play around the left side of that defense. And you get an idea why Landry has built this offense around Tony Dorsett. You see Springs working right there on number 29 on the outside, Hanford Dixon. Dixon, of course, known more for his speed than he is for his aggressiveness on the running plays.
2nd down and 2. Having a big first half.
Cleveland Browns, I think, expecting a pass on a throwaway down, and he gets crossed up right here. Dorsett gets outside of the defense, and a couple of defenders already had dropped back deep. Clinton Burrell coming over to finally make the stop. You see how quickly Dorsett is outside of the defense here. Tony Hill, number 80, doing a good job of blocking out there. But Dorsett is really showing his stuff and showing no ill effects from that knee injury.
Averaging nearly 10 yards a carry, Merlin.
That's sore toe, excuse me.
5 rushes, almost 50 yards. This is Springs, 40. Fumbles, and Cleveland recovers at the 34-yard line. Some vicious tackling, and number 49, Clinton Burrell, up with a loose ball. As Springs took some mean hits.
Right there, a great stop. Burrell, number 49, just talked about him on the other side. Watch the play here as he's going to come down to the inside. He'll cut back, and just as he gets to the inside, it's right there. A full-speed hit by number 49, Clinton Burrell, stripped the ball away.
Timeout. Cleveland's ball. 3:43 left in the first quarter. Much of a hole. You saw White take a little stutter step looking for daylight. There was none, so he continued his course straight ahead for a couple. Don Smirrick, number 60, Hegman, 58, made the tackle.
John Dutton injured the shoulder last week. Smirrick, and they're getting a chance Francisco here and recovered from both those injuries to make his way back onto the lineup of the Dallas Cowboys.
Bullet went right through his chest, so you talk about Thanksgiving and things to be happy and joyful about. Smirik just lucky to be alive in there contributing in that defensive line.
Shotgun again.
3rd and 3. Complete to Dino Hall, and the little running back goes out of bounds at the Dallas 35 with a first down. So the Browns adopting the shotgun formation, and for Seif it works to Dino Hall.
Seif, I'm sure, relishing the fact that the shotgun traditionally gives you a little more time. Stunt there on the right side of the defensive line for the Cowboys, trying to take advantage of that injury over there to Doug Deacon. But Seif, with plenty of time to throw the football, gets it comfortably into the hands of Dino Hall.
2 minutes, 10 seconds left in the first quarter. It's scoreless. Cleveland with its deepest drive against Dallas. Again, first down pass play and good protection. And going long to Logan. Intercepted. Everson Walls has it again. What a player he is.
Seif, with time to throw that football, actually missed through it. Threw it to the right-hand side of the receiver. Logan was breaking for the sideline. May have broken off the pattern, but you see the ball thrown here. Watch Logan turn back to the inside, but it's the defender who then has the advantage. Walls going up, taking the ball over his inside shoulder.
Everson Walls, his second interception this year, had 11 last year to lead the National Football League as a free agent rookie. What a story his is.
A happy young man.
From the 4-yard line, still no score, 2:02 left in the quarter. Dorsett buys 3, 2nd and 7 for Dallas. Back to Everson Walls. It is such a, for the underdog, the long shot. Everson Walls was not drafted. He went to Grambling. He's a Dallas native. He grew up 2 miles from the Dallas Cowboy training camp. Mel Renfro was his hero. He makes the club last year and goes on to lead the NFL in interceptions with 11. And he has 2 already this year. He had 3 in the preseason. He's a real commodity. Play action. White from his end zone. That could be intercepted. But Cosby catches it for Dallas. Oh, my.
Curtis Weathers, number 55, on a hard blitz from the outside, right over the top of Danny White. See Chip Banks coming from the other side. They had the blitz coming both ways. Weathers, the man that hit him just as he is about to throw that football. The ball just flutters out and was up there for grabs, but it was Cosby, number 84, the big 6'6" tight end, that said, no, that's my football. He goes up and takes it away from Lawrence Johnson. What a play.
Almost fair catch, that pass. Set a 2-point for Cleveland. Dallas maintains the ball on a first down. Dorsett, the first time today, stopped without a gain as Chip Banks and Marshall Harris were there to make the stop at the Dallas. Let's see where they mark the ball. At the 18-yard line, it'll be a loss of a yard.
Nobody beats Cleveland. Well, Cowboys would like a shot at that. Browns have had a fine season this year. Great preseason, and of course, except for that loss in the last minutes against Philadelphia, a perfect season thus far.
And so the first quarter comes to an end here at Irving Stadium. Tom Landry and Sam Ratigliano, each coach looking for something on the scoreboard. The Browns have driven twice to no score and are once, and Dallas has just intercepted Cleveland's best chance at a scoring opportunity.
Before you pick Panthers when you come to the Cotton Bowl.
This is Danny White.
In Irving, Texas, no score. Dallas with the football. 2nd and 11 at its 18-yard line. Dorsett, and he is hit immediately at at the 12-yard line by Tom Cousineau. Oh, he came in like a shot.
One of the gifts that Cousineau has is the ability to read plays quickly. And on that particular play, he read the draw almost instantly. Watch how quickly he's into that defense or that offensive backfield right there. He got a hold of Dorsett before he had a chance to take more than 2 steps.
With 4.65 speed and 225 pounds, a lot of lateral mobility. He's likened to Randy Gradishar, another Ohio State linebacker who has starred with the Denver Broncos. Third down, 16. I thought I heard a whistle, and it was not a very solid one, and White finally said, well, is it or isn't it? And they may have extended beyond the 30-second time allotment.
One of the frustrations that Coach Landry has is when he gets the team at one end or the other of the field, it takes longer to get those plays in with the messenger system. But he just doesn't trust the signals. They were signaled for a while last year. He felt it got them in trouble. In fact, it was Coach Makovic on his left.
Ball start, 67 offense.
Who was signaling in the plays last year. Landry said, I'd just rather send them in with the messenger. We're more certain of them that way.
Now Pat Donovan, the all-pro left tackle, false start, the first penalty of the game. And now White needs even bigger yardage. Needs a first down out across the 29. The ball's at the 7-yard line. Out of the shotgun. Almost tackled for a safety, you'll recall, in a similar play situation. Here's a screen to Springs. 15. And down he goes. Number 99, Keith Baldwin, and another rookie, Mike Robinson, 92, made the tackle. So the Cowboys have to give up the ball, and Cleveland should get good field position early here in this second quarter.
Defensive coordinator Marty Schottenheimer talks to his troops constantly about swarming defense. If you're anywhere on the field, you're expected to be going for that football, and you saw it right there. They really got on top of that screen and shut it down.
Walker, the rookie, back at the 45-yard line as Danny White will receive the ball right on the goal line. Good driving boot. Walker at the 41, 45, and toppled at the 47. Walker at Nichols State in Louisiana averaged 13.5 yards every time he touched the ball in his brilliant 4 years. Good 44-yard punt by Danny White. We still are looking for our first score. The 47-yard line. Doug Deacon, with that injured right hand, is out of the lineup, and number 71, Matt Miller, has replaced him at left tackle. Miller from the University of Colorado. First down. Stipe is thrown on first down every play in this game. Swings it to Mike Pruitt, and the big fullback turns about 3 yards, crosses midfield, and surrounded by Cowboys, Hegman and Walls.
One of the reasons that Coach Retigliano did not want to have to go to that replacement on the left tackle is that putting a young man like Matt Miller into the game in place of that veteran, Doug Deacon, you almost have to put someone in to help him. Now watch number 82, Ozzie Newsome. Newsome stays. They're stunning on the inside line to try and take advantage of the inexperience of number 71, Millen. Newsome, the man who helps to pick up Randy White.
Second down. Logan in motion. 6 for a first down. Charlie White runs into his own man, Miller, and down he goes at the 45-yard line. Not Miller's fault. The defensive force pushed White back inside, and Miller trying to help him out. Knocked him down, a -6.
Watch right now. You'll see the young rookie here, that Miller, young player. He's going to go to the outside. It's a little screen pass outside. He thinks he's going to get in there and help. He's going outside with Harvey Martin. Ends up knocking. That's concentration. Ends up knocking Charlie White right off the ground.
White saying, hey, it's tough enough against those 11 white shirts. I don't need a man 270 pounds on my own team to hit me.
I wonder who they give the credit for the tackle to.
Third down and 12. Out of the shotgun, Stipe. Deep down the middle. Feature can't handle it. It's at the 40-yard line. Dennis Thurman, number 32, made the defensive play.
Dennis Thurman, the leader of that defensive secondary. He's the man that brings the signals in. 83, Ricky Feature has really come into his zone with the retirement of Reggie Rucker. Everson Walls, number 24, the man behind him, but it's Thurman who read the play from the inside, came across to strip the ball away.
Another former Southern California Trojan, and we wish Johnny Robinson well in his new pursuits academically at Southern California. His last game coaching the Trojans on Saturday. Cox's kick to Fellows. Oh, he's a gambler, and down he goes at about the 17-yard line. On all three punt returns, Fellows has been surrounded by Browns. He doesn't fair catch. 40-yard punt. No score here in Irving, Texas. 12 minutes left first half. A missed 32-yard field goal. Off to begin in Cleveland's end of the field on a fumble. Cleveland once in Dallas territory. Interception by Everson Walls. They start at the 17. White to Dorsett. Good defensive play by number 56 of the Cleveland Browns, Chip Banks. He forced Dorsett to go wider than he wanted to, and then Lawrence Johnson, 48, came up to make the tackle.
Dick, we're seeing, again, a low-scoring game in the early going here. It has to reflect the fact that defenses are traditionally ahead of offenses when you've had a layoff, whether it's at the beginning of training camp or even after a short time off. And, of course, we had a long time off during the strike. It's easier to get back and play defense than it is to get the coordination and the timing of offensive patterns.
And I was reflected in the first game today. Neither team scored an offensive touchdown. 2 field goals aside. Lawrence Taylor's long interception return, the only touchdown of the day. Dorsett, 20, out of bounds at the 25-yard line. A good gain by Dorsett, short of the first down by a couple. It'll be third down.
One of the things that Tom Landry does so well on offense is to employ multiple tight ends. Billy Joe Dupree, number 89, right there, blocking on Mike Robinson, number 92, hits him high and then takes his legs out from underneath him, opens the way for Tony Dorsett to make an excellent gain, and the Cowboys look very explosive. One of the things that I was impressed with watching them practice is what good shape they came back in. You don't see any extra poundage on that Dallas sideline.
Third down, yard and a half. Nothing there except brown jerseyed Cleveland players led by Dick Ambrose from the University of Virginia and Marshall Harris from Texas Christian. So the Cowboys stopped on third down.
One of the interesting innovations of recent years, the blocking by the tight end coming to the inside. Now watch Doug Cosby, number 84. He's going to come inside almost like a pulling guard. He's going to trap to the inside. Great play here by Banks and Ambrose, 56 and 52. They just sat him down.
Danny White delivers another solid kick. White Walker, the rookie, gets a good block, fumbles the ball, gets another block, 35, and to the 37. Walker was lucky. An outstanding block kept that from being a Dallas fumble recovery. A 44-yard punt, 7-yard return. We have a penalty against Dallas. An eligible man downfield. You saw White, as he often will do, take a couple of extra steps under no rush. And in the meantime, one of the Dallas linemen apparently released.
Number 57 on the kicking team, downfield, illegally, penalty refused.
Angelo King, number 57, the man who got out a little early, but it's hard to blame him when White takes a couple of extra steps.
And the Browns will decline the penalty and take the football at their own 37-yard line. 11-10 remaining in the first half. Still a whitewash. It's been a long time away, so Schottenheimer, even when the play is on, is almost evangelistic in his teaching. He's taking them into the classroom on the sideline.
He's a fine coach.
First down, Browns, scoreless. 11 minutes left, first half. Ball, Cleveland 37. Good. And one thing that Cleveland has not been able to do in this first half is run against the Dallas defense, and the Browns are, in this 1982 year, restructuring, trying to run more than pass, but have not been able to move it on the ground.
Bob Brunig, number 53, reacting quickly, but it was Randy White, number 54, at the bottom of that stack. And Randy, you'd like to run at him to immobilize him. He's so effective in pursuit. He was not moved out of there at all on that particular play.
All-Pro the last 4 years, Randy White. The player's term is quite a load at 261. Second and 9. Cleveland has only 9 yards rushing. Sight to Charles White, breaking a couple of tackles, and he's to the 49-yard line. A flag is down, however. We'll see if that first down will count. An 11-yard play, most of it on the running of Charles White. But illegal motion against Cleveland. We'll call it back.
That play would be nullified. Indication of the value of a versatile back like Charlie White, who can step in there for you, run the football, and also take an opportunity to get out, catch a pass, or also to block. Does it all. Does it well.
Illegal motion, number 82 offense. Still second down.
It's Ozzie Newsome right there. The man that was off a little bit early. Unfortunately, nullified the play.
So it's second and 14 at the Cleveland 32. And Sight working from the shotgun and cupping his hands to his mouth and shouting out an audible. Sight incomplete. Don Smirik was putting pressure on the quarterback and threw it unable to handle the low pass just as well as he was being wrapped up by rookie Monty Hunter, number 34. Big Game Hunter, his nickname, from Salem, West Virginia, school of about 1,000 enrollment.
Smirik knows he's going to be working one-on-one on Joe DeLamielleure, right guard of the Cleveland Browns, because they're having to give help to the other side. Tom DeLeon has to get over there early. Puts a lot of pressure on DeLamielleure.
And Tom DeLeon with that shotgun, and he hasn't had a lot of work with it in game conditions with that blind snap to Sight, and so a lot of pressure on the center of the Browns. Done a good job. So Newsome intercepted. Mike Downs, 35-30, and out of bounds at the 21-yard line. So Sight has been picked off for the second time. Walls has one, and Downs, also a free agent rookie last year. He has his first of the season.
Ozzie Newsome, the intended receiver. Newsome shaking his head on the sideline. There he comes right now. Let's follow him all the way across. Downs bumping him. Get a couple of illegal shots. He's only allowed one hit, but the ball underthrown. Newsome felt that if it had come in high enough, he could have had it. A great pickoff. Let's watch Sight now. Sight has time to throw the football. Simply did not get it high enough. Did not perhaps read the closing downs. They're lucky to get him out of bounds there. Dallas has a shot at it.
No score, 10 minutes left in the half. Hill in motion. Fake to Dorsett. White. Cosby. Fumble. Or is it incomplete? Nope, they called it an incomplete pass as Cosby was drilled by Clinton Burrell, number 49.
Burrell taking a good shot. Cosby, number 84. You see him numbered both on the pants and the shirt. He'll catch it going back the other way, just looking for an open spot. But it's Burrell that actually the ball went right through Cosby's hands. Burrell didn't shake it loose. Might have done had Cosby caught that football.
Merlin, I'm impressed. And one of the thoughts after the long layoff that the defensive players might ease up a bit. The Browns are really hitting ferocious defensive charges today. White now 4 for 8. Looks at second and 10. Dorsett. 15 and bumped out at the 12. Just shy of a first down.
Again, the Dallas Cowboys taking advantage of the fact that Cleveland had set themselves for a pass play, and it's Dorsett's great acceleration that allows him to get outside, take advantage of those deep drops by corners and safeties. It gives him room in the secondary.
And Merlin, look who's into that offensive line for Dallas. Number 68, the All-Pro guard, Herb Scott, who was injured back early in the year, and the layoff helped him to mend, and of course a valuable property at guard.
He did not expect to be in this game today. Expected Howard Richards to go all the way, but said if
the first down. It'll be first and goal for the Cowboys, although they're scrambling as if there was a fumble.
I think they're just fighting for that extra half a yard down there.
Well, the Cowboys have a first down right at the 10-yard line. They have the full 10-yard distance to go.
There's Herb Scott. You might see a little extra poundage having come off a knee injury. Did not allow him to work out for quite a long period of time. But he always carries his weight in that fashion. He's not one of the more physical appearing Cowboys.
Yeah, all those baritones do, and he's a lead baritone in his choir. His hobby is gospel singing. Dorsett, big hole up the middle, and he has 6 yards. Cleveland not looking for the run on first down, and Dorsett right behind the blocks of center Tom Rafferty and the guards Scott and Peterson.
Jim Cooper, number 61, also doing a good job. A quick look inside. 64, Rafferty, a converted guard, getting his man off with an influence block. And there's the second block right there. Good job inside, and well, Dorsett doesn't need much room anyway. Watch how quickly he cuts back into the hole here. Sees the opening inside and just keeps his shoulders square. Goes for everything he can pick up.
Drew Pearson hustling to the other side of the field to the left. Now he goes off the field. Wide open, Billy Joe Dupree. And Danny White alertly got Drew Pearson off the field. He was the 12th man. He got off in time, and Dupree has the touchdown.
Looked like a motion play to get him off the field. I'm sure confusing. He's trying to get off the field ahead of time here, realizing finally what White wanted him to do. Gets all the way off the field so they don't get penalized. Interesting play. Not a very happy play for the Cleveland Browns.
Step the ends, try for point. Glenn Carano holding. And the Cowboys have the first touchdown scored against the Browns in the first half this year.
Play action pass. Danny White giving it a little fake there. That's Cosby actually bumping into him on the other side. The 2 tight ends in the game, and Dupree wide open as he heads into the corner of the end zone.
So after the interception by Downs, 5 plays, 20 yards, 7 points.
Collusion right there. The 2 of them slamming together. White able to maintain his composure and come outside and throw an easy touchdown pass to Billy Joe Dupree.
So 7-0, the Dallas Cowboys lead with 8:36 left in the first half. Step the end to kick it off. Dino Hall and Dwight Walker are deep for the Browns. Dino Hall at the 7. And the little guy is out to the 30 from Glassboro State. He was an outstanding baseball player. He's only 5'7", 165 pounds. Let's pause briefly for station identification. Happy Thanksgiving on this, the NBC Television Network.
This is KYW-TV3 in Philadelphia.
Cleveland Browns trailing 7-0 here against the Dallas Cowboys. And Doug Deacon is back in the lineup for Cleveland at that left tackle spot. 29-yard line. Cleveland puts it in play. Sight to Charles White. Short yardage to the 33. Covered by Anthony Dickerson. He's not related, at least we asked him yesterday, to the Eric Dickerson, who's the All-American running back with SMU, even though both of them SMU men. Second down, 6. White to the 36-yard line. Ed Too Tall Jones at 6'9" made the tackle for the Cowboys. You know, Jones and Martin, who used to line up left-handed and Martin right-handed, they've been asked to shift that stance by Tom Landry. Do you think that really makes a difference?
Well, certainly it gives you some advantages, but moving your stance, I have never really understood the philosophy of the Dallas defense in putting the tackles in a 4-point stance and forcing you to either play in a right-handed or a left-handed stance. I think doing something like that that's unnatural takes away from the playing ability of the defensive lineman.
3rd and 3. And it's Pruitt. Oh, he bulls for what might be a first down as Randy White had him at about the 36, and Pruitt, who carries 225 pounds, it appeared on second effort he has the first down just shy of the 40. It is a first down.
Chance to look at Randy White right here in the middle of your screen, number 54. Randy, of course, driving to the outside, just bounces off of Jackson's block, gets off a second block. That's DeLeon trying to get him on the second side. But that's brilliant second effort by Mike Pruitt, particularly on a worried about his hamstring. He had problems with it, but he's doing a good job in there today.
So on first down, good play action. And is it a good catch? Yes! Charles White with a diving catch on the sideline. Anthony Dickerson, the defender. The fans thought that White was out of bounds.
Usually when you get a defender right on top of a receiver, and there's a question as to whether he was driven out or if he would have landed inbounds, the benefit will go to the receiver. That's a finely thrown pass. Good job, and you'll see contact, bodily contact inbounds. The official right on top of that one.
That's a spectacular play for just a 3-yard gain as White able to wrap it up. 2nd and 7. Sight. Intercepted by Brunig at the 50-yard line. It went right through the hands of the intended receiver, and Brunig said, "What's this? A little present." That's the 3rd interception by the Cowboys.
Bryant, the Cleveland Browns trying to throw some quick passes in there to take the pressure off the offensive line. And Brian Sipe has his 3rd interception of the day, and he said, "Why in the world didn't you throw it in the right place?"
Threw it behind Mike Pruitt, and Bob Brunig with one of his rare interceptions. So the Cowboys have the ball again, leading 7-0. Dallas Cowboys, the leaders in the NFL last year with 37 interceptions, have 3 in this first half today and own the ball at the Cleveland 49, leading 7-0. Bob Brunig's 8th interception in his 8 years with Dallas. White, man open, but he overshoots Tony Hill, number 49, on the play for Cleveland. Clinton Burrell tackling Hill and drawing some disapproval from the Dallas fans.
We talk about the importance of pass protection. Danny White's protection in part is based on the play of Tom Rafferty, number 64 at center. Watch Rafferty here as he locks up with Henry Marshall, or with Henry Bradley on the inside. Does a good job of keeping him away from the quarterback.
Dorsett, the only man behind White. Looking for Pearson. Good pump fake, and Pearson is all alone. Down at the 1-yard line, actually the 1-foot line, and Pearson wanted that touchdown so badly.
The equation is very simple. You give a quarterback like Danny White that much time to throw the football, he's going to find one of those talented receivers in the open. Drew Pearson has really become a control receiver for the Cowboys, but he gets the big play here as White looks off to his left, goes back over to the right-hand side, throws the bomb to number 88.
Just missed the touchdown, and it was debatable as to whether or not Pearson was across that final line. So 1st and goal on the 1-foot line for the Cowboys. Dorsett, touchdown. And stoic Tom Landry
Dorsett. Dorsett actually knocked back, but he was over the goal line.
Septien's kick is through, and with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first half, Dallas has opened a 2-touchdown lead. Their drives have been short from the 20-yard line after the interception by Downs, and now Brunig's interception, 49 yards, took them only a couple of plays, and they now lead 14-0. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys and the National Football League is prohibited. Well, we invite you to stay with us on NBC Sports for an exciting weekend of coverage on Saturday. NBC Sports World keeps you in the holiday spirit with the beauty and the grace of world professional figure skating. Former Olympic greats, gold medalist Dorothy Hamill, Janet Lynn, a bronze medalist, gold medalist Robin Cousins, the Protopopovs from Russia. They'll be featured in an encore performance from the Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. It's an event the whole family will enjoy. This Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. And then on Sunday, we've got a big doubleheader of football on NBC. We'll be talking about that later. Dwight Walker at the 7, 15, 20, 30, and out to the 33-yard line. And you can see why Walker was so highly regarded by the scouts of the Cleveland Browns. He almost turned that one loose for a long gainer, and a flag is down. Whoops. Cleveland will have it called back. Illegal use of the hands.
That's a shame, because that's the kind of aggressive running and the kind of big play that Sam Ratigliano's Browns need to get back into this game. Dick Brian Sipes said last week after the game, he said, I'd have booed myself in the first half. I'm afraid that the same is true today.
Number 51 on the kicking team, illegal pushing it back.
Eddie Johnson, number 51, the guilty party on the illegal block, but Sipes has got to get going. Had a much better second half, and well, the Browns better hope that he can do the same here today.
Well, they've had that cardiac kid kind of leadership with the Browns coming from behind in his career. We'll have to do it again today. Just a yard gain for Mike Pruitt. While we have a moment, Sam Ratigliano's daughter, Carrie, is in a Cleveland hospital, and we want to wish her well, and that gives us an opportunity to say hello and wish all of our friends who are hospitalized or indisposed on this day, wish them a speedy recovery and in their own way a happy Thanksgiving. Second down and 9. Sipe in trouble, and down he goes at the 8-yard line. Too tall Jones.
Right into Brian Sipes' shoes there. He drops back. Number 72, Ed Too Tall Jones, using that tremendous height advantage to reach out and strip the legs out from underneath Brian Sipes.
Look at the numbers, 6'9", 272, and Jones finally last year living up to all his potential, named to the Pro Bowl. Still credits his professional boxing career, however short-lived, in 1979, as helping him with his quickness, his agility in playing this game. From his own end zone, Sipes, third and long. Complete to Charles White, and he's to the 25, short of a first down. Anthony Dickerson saved the first down. His speed as a linebacker, able to get to White. Sipes throwing under pressure.
There's a stunt going on the inside here. Now watch Harvey Martin. He's going to drive to the inside, and they're going to run a stunt behind him. Number 44, or number 54, White, coming out to the outside. He'll come in scot-free to unload on Brian Sipes. Sipes still able to get that football off and into the hands of Charlie White.
That's a great camera angle to appreciate how tough it is for that quarterback, and what a perfect throw by Sipes under the worst possible duress. Cox hits Honey. Bellows at his 27. 35. May have fumbled. It's at the 40, and will this be the break the Browns are looking for with 3 minutes left in the half?
Cowboys have had their turnovers early. The Browns would love to get one of their own just before the half.
No signal yet, as they're fighting under that pile for possession.
You don't come out there. You come out of there reluctantly if you've got a hand on that football, Dick.
And And it's going to come down to the final wrestle. It's Dallas with the ball.
It appeared that Fellows really banged into one of his teammates. That may have precipitated the fumble. Watch him here. Number 27 breaking up inside. Bangs right into the back of one of his own players there. Drops that football on the ground. And I bet it was Fellows who recovered it underneath that stack.
Now Dallas has the football just inside its 40-yard line with 3 minutes plus remaining in the half. And the Cowboys with a 14-0 lead. A dominated play. Dorsett is winged way out on the right. Run springs, 40. Following his blockers well, near a first down at the 49. Ambrose finally tracked him down with help from Henry Bradley, number 91.
Springs, of course, does double duty. Very often required to do the blocking for Tony Dorsett. On that particular play, given a chance to show us his running skills.
Well, we talked about Saturday figure skating, and then on Sunday, doubleheader here on NBC. Those are the early games. The Raiders in Cincinnati will be seen by most of you around the country. And then the second half of the doubleheader, most of it Western action. Prime game, Denver at San Diego, Kansas City, LA, Pittsburgh, Seattle. So Sunday, an NFL twin bill here on NBC. Dorsett, first down and more to the 45 of Cleveland. And Dorsett, who does not have a 100-yard day in the first 3 games of this year, working on a 100-yard half.
We mentioned the fact that Springs normally handles the blocking assignments, and you see him right there throwing the block on the outside on Hanford Dixon, number 29, to spring Dorsett for the first down.
Say Dorsett just 21 yards away from the century mark. First down Cowboys, Cleveland 44. 1976 Heisman Award winner and a brilliant player in the NFL, Dorsett. Pass Dorsett. 40, 30, out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Dorsett. Oh, beautiful timing on that play from White to his running back. Led him with a pass.
Tom Cousineau coming hard from the inside. Looked like he had a shot at Dorsett, but Doug Cosby is going to pick him off. Let's see if we can pick it up. This is just a long handoff to Dorsett. Streaking to the outside. Here it comes now. Watch the block right there. You see that block? Bang, and he's got him.
Meanwhile, Chip Banks with an acrobatic attempt to try to block the pass, and he too was blocked well as Dorsett gained 16 yards. At the right time. So everything breaking right for the Dallas Cowboys. The loose balls bouncing in the direction of the white shirts when it appeared that Sam Retigliano's Browns almost to that ball out in the open, the kind you can pick up and run for a score.
White is going to get hit from the blind side. It's the cornerback Hanford Dixon that strips that ball away. A chance to be recovered there, but the ball was bouncing and the Cowboys get it back. Rafferty quickly on top of it for the Cowboys.
2-minute timeout.
You wonder why this game has favored the Cowboys? Look at what they've been able to do with the strength of Tony Dorsett's rushing. 114 to 17 yards in the first half.
And the Cowboys with a 2-touchdown lead, but they have needed 2 pass interceptions, both coming in Cleveland territory. White on second down and 20. White in traffic and is sacked at the 46-yard line as number 92, Mike Robinson from the University of Arizona, 4th-round pick last year, made the play. He's a native of Cleveland.
He's the man that really allowed the Browns to trade off Lyle Alzado. They wanted him to get into the lineup. He's responded with some outstanding play. Coach Retigliano feels that he's one of the most valuable additions to that Cleveland defense.
Clock is running. 1:40, 1:39 left. First half. Dallas will take its time with 3rd down and long. Drew Pearson wide left. Cosby left. Hill the shotgun. Deep down the middle to Pearson, and he has it at the 24. That'll be short of a first down. Clarence Scott made the tackle, and on fourth down, here's Raphael Septien will come in for a field goal try.
Drew Pearson isolated on the far side, just drives to the inside. This is the kind of pattern that Danny White likes. He puts it on the money. They try to shake it loose, but the veteran hangs on, pulls it down. Cleveland calling timeout here, wanting to preserve as much on the clock as they can. Certainly looking probably at trying to block this field goal to begin with.
Another fine story is Pearson, who was a free agent pick. Pearson was a quarterback in high school in New Jersey. Joe Theismann was the quarterback before him at that same high school. And Theismann now with the Redskins at 3-0. Pearson went to Tulsa, made him into a receiver, drafted as a free agent, and all he is now is the all-time Dallas #1 receiver with 429 receptions. 22 yards on that last play that gives Septien more room for the field goal.
Talking about Pearson, I have to tell you that having played against him a number of times, I watched him catch some passes that I did not ever believe he would get his hands on, and felt the pain of that inside of me. He always played extremely well against us and has had a tremendous career here in Dallas.
And another good statistic for men who have thrown the ball more than twice in the NFL. He has the best completion percentage. He is 5 for 5 and 3 touchdowns.
That's not a bad average.
Septien, it'll be a 41-yard attempt. He missed one earlier from 32. Not this time. Right down the middle. And Dallas now leads by 17.
Tom Landry, of course, prepares his team thoroughly. They're a highly disciplined team, a veteran team, and they figured to come back out of this strike delay probably with greater ease than perhaps any other team in the NFL. They've also been favored by the schedule. 2 home games and then a 10-day layoff. A 10-day layoff, he'll use it as a mini-camp to get his troops ready.
Now Septien, that's officially a 40-yard field goal. He has that McCaw, he calls after his own initials, JR, not for the Dallas character, but for Jose Raphael as in Septien. He said, how's the McCaw doing in a year? Learned any more new words? He says, no. He says, all it can say is hello, and it's learned how to bark. He says, I've got 4 dogs. He said, I've got a dumb McCaw and 4 dogs. Here comes Walker, the rookie at the 20. You can slow down and pick your spots maybe in college, but you can't give up that much time against the good Dallas rush. So Cleveland trailing, and you see Len Berman, Mike Adamle getting ready for NFL 82. They'll have highlights of the first game, and we're talking about the first 30 minutes of this one at halftime. And congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Len Berman on the arrival of their 3rd child, daughter, in the last couple of weeks. Sons, that does make this Thanksgiving special. Cleveland with 49 seconds left in the half and trailing by 17, and Sipe out of the shotgun, so they're going to go for it. That's Dino Hall to the 34-yard line, and the clock is running.
Matt Miller again in the game. It would appear that Doug Deacon is only able to tolerate the use of that hand, limited amounts of time. He's alternating series with the youngster.
Sipe incomplete to Hall, who was open at the 45-yard line. That stops the clock with 24 seconds. The Browns have 2 timeouts remaining in this half.
One of the interesting questions to ask, if Brian Sipe does not get things going any better, will we see Paul McDonald? Sam Rutigliano, quoted many times early in this season, as saying he felt that he had 2 starting quarterbacks. McDonald has sat by quietly, waiting his turn. It may be coming up.
Sipe, who came into this game hitting on only 45.8% of his passes. That's way below, 10% below what he wants. He's 11 for 18 today, but 3 interceptions. 2nd and 10. No one open, so he has to duck out of bounds at the 38-yard line and stops the clock with 16 seconds remaining. Well, that's the kind of play with that much time. You hope, if you're a Cleveland Brown fan, that someone can work open, but that Dallas defense too tough.
I think Seif also felt the breath on the back of his neck. Don Smerrick, number 60, bearing down on him as he went out of bounds.
Merlin, in your day, they started with a 5th defensive back, and because of 5 called at the nickel, and then they went to 6 a dime. Well, Dallas is using 7 defensive backs at the moment. I don't know what their terminology is, but
Maybe that's a quarter.
inflation, maybe even $1. I don't know about that.
$1 defense.
3rd down and 6 with 16 seconds. Good stop by Seif. And Randy White throws him down at the 32. 3rd sack for the Cowboys, who had 7 coming into this game.
White again showing you why the Cleveland defensive backs. I think that's really important is because of the expanded rosters. You can afford to keep extra people. It used to be that if you only had 38, 39, 40 players, you could not keep enough defensive backs to put 7 in the game. But of course, with a 49-man roster as we have now, you can keep a lot of specialists around.
Dallas, noting that Cleveland was just going to let that clock run out in the half, stops it with a timeout at 7 seconds just to get a chance for a return, a good return, and a quick field goal try, and they could add to their 17-0 lead.
Cox and the Cleveland punting team have had a little bit of difficulty getting the football off. Perhaps Dallas wants a chance to block this kick.
You look at those numbers above Tom Landry. Well, you don't see them now, but 007, and in some ways he's been a James Bond as he's survived a lot of travail as the head coach in the early years, and now in his 23rd season, the 3rd winningest coach in NFL history. They're going to put on a 10-man rush. Cox gets it away. No one back for Dallas. Clock running out. That'll be the end of the first half as soon as the ball is whistled dead. And there it is. So the Dallas Cowboys, opportunistic, using 2 pass interceptions deep in Cleveland territory, and Tom Landry's team, with 2 wins and a loss, owns a sizable 17-0 lead.
No question they came back into this game with much more concentration and discipline than did the Cleveland Browns.
And, of course, the advantage of that home field. We'll check with the guys on NFL 82 right after this word. Right after this word. Said had a bad toe and didn't practice it but 1 day before this game.
Well, certainly his running dominated the first half, and the rushing of the Dallas Cowboys allowed them to dominate not only the play on the field but also the scoreboard.
All right, Merlin, let's take a look at the official first half statistics and point out what catches your eye.
The thing that you look at most quickly there, the rushing yardage, 114 yards to 21 yards. That in and of itself is enough to give you domination of the first half. The passing yardage also very one-sided for the Dallas Cowboys, as would be then the total yardage. The turnovers, 3 turnovers for the Browns, only 1 for the Dallas Cowboys. And a 3-2 advantage in possession time also for the Cowboys.
The Browns, trailing 17-0, will get the ball first as Septien kicks it off. And Dwight Walker at the 4. Bad start. Now he breaks it out to the 25, the 30. And the last man, Everson Walls, saves a touchdown. So that does happen too. You fumble and that draws everyone in, and once you break through that first front wall, you might go a long distance, and Walker turned a mistake into a good kickoff return.
Some of the most exciting kick returns that I've ever seen have come off plays exactly like this. All of the defenders end up in the same place, and if you can break that initial wall, as you said, Dick, you have a chance. Dennis Thurman, number 32, one man that missed him. Septien didn't get a chance there, but Everson Walls using his great speed to pull down Walker.
The veteran Brian Seif is at quarterback. First down at the 38. Mike Pruitt, we're about 4 straight ahead. Pruitt, an All-American at Purdue, and following in that great tradition of Cleveland Brown running backs, Jim Brown and Leroy Kelly and Greg Pruitt and now Mike, all 1,000-yard rushers. Brian Seif with White, Charles White, and Mike Pruitt behind him. The receivers, Logan and Feature on the outside with a tight end, Ozzie Newsome. Doug Deacon back in there along with Jackson, DeLeon, Lamalour, and Rison in front wall. Second down 4 at the 42. was coming, and so was Mike Hegman, and Hegman got there first. Someone had to pick up Barnes, and that left Hegman free as they loaded up. Two men coming from that defensive right side.
First down, Petty. Browns, and they don't like to keep their backs in the secondary. In this particular case, they did keep Pruitt in. Simply could not handle all the people coming, and Sipe paid the price for that. And although Brian Sipe is back in the game, Paul McDonald is down along the sideline warming up.
There's a left-hander from Southern California, McDonald, the second string quarterback for Cleveland. It's 3rd and 6. Good protection this time for Sipe. And he can't find Logan at the Cowboy 44. Good coverage from Everson Wolves. So Cleveland's first attempt. No first down. And Steve Cox will punt it away to Dallas. You have not been with Thanksgiving football coverage earlier today in Pontiac Silverdome. New York Giants defeated the Detroit Lions 13-6. No offensive touchdowns. The winning score, a 97-yard interception return by the sensational linebacker of the Giants, Lawrence Taylor. Cox with a perfect spiral. Fellows at his 9. And he's down at the 14, maybe the 15-yard line as Kevin Turner, number 59 linebacker for Cleveland, made the tackle on the special teams. Good kick by Cox, 42 yards. Danny White, the quarterback, brings in the Dallas offense. And when you think Dallas offense, you think Tony Dorsett. Dorsett with a big first half, 79 yards. Ron Springs with over 30 yards, had more rushing than the entire Cleveland team. Hill and Pearson on the outside. Doug Cosby, a touchdown catch in the first half. Pat Donovan, Richards, Rafferty, Peterson, and Cooper on the line for Dallas. Pearson to the left with Hill slotted left. Winged left is Springs, and now it's Dorsett who wings out the other way. Springs, big hole, and he's to the 22-yard line before Ambrose can bring him down. On first down, the Cowboys get 7. Harris, Bradley, and Robinson. Relatively young front three with Banks, Cousineau, Ambrose, and Cowboy. The injured Matthews, Clay Matthews, has a broken ankle. Johnson and Dixon at the corners. Burrell and Scott are the safeties. 17-0 Dallas. The comfort of that sizable lead as we start the second half, their first possession. On the blitz, and they pick it up well, the Cowboys, and going long for Hill. He's got it at the 30-yard line. Then whistled at Hill just in case will take it in. Hill between two Cleveland Browns, showing his athletic, leaping talent.
It looked like there was going to be a chance for the defenders to jump up and bat that ball away. And for Dixon, looked like he was gathering position. You'll see him, number 29. He was the man initially responsible for Hill. But the other cornerback, Lawrence Johnson, also in on the play. Let's look at it from behind Danny White. Now watch it as the ball is thrown. You'll see that the two defenders are closing quickly on Hill. It looks like they're in position to knock the ball away. They end up knocking each other down, and they're very lucky that Lawrence Johnson ended up on the heels of Hill, or he would have gone off for a touchdown.
47 yards and a first down at the Cleveland 30, and White swings it out to Dorsett. And he is to the 20-yard line, and what appears to be close to another first down. Ambrose made the tackle.
One of the obvious advantages that the Dallas Cowboys appear to have in this game is that they seem to have maintained their discipline and their conditioning better than the Cleveland Browns. I think perhaps in a way that's the kind of system they have, Dick. Tom Landry and his staff, very, very disciplined. Most of these Dallas players stayed close by. Most worked out regularly, lifting weights, working together, and it didn't take them long to get back into the pattern of the season.
Landry's Cowboys with a first down at the 20-yard line. Dallas with a relatively easy schedule the rest of the way, and the Browns have a murderous lineup of games to follow this one. Leading 17-0, first down at the 30. Dorsett. He is to the 13, 7 more yards, and there again the value of the wide receivers for the Cowboys. They block, and Tony Hill freed Dorsett for extra yardage.
Excellent block by number 80, Tony Hill. Just waiting out there. It was almost the kind of play you see in basketball. Now Hill has gone down. Dorsett, he's a blocker now. Watch him just wait, and he nails him coming from the inside. That's the kind of pick you run in the NBA, isn't it, Dick?
Indeed, and of course he gave the look of going down, so he drew the attention of the cornerback and then wheels and picks off the linebacker. Second down, 3. Dorsett 14 yards from 100. He wings out to the right. Springs. First down to the 9. Henry Bradley from behind finally threw his 260 pounds on him and had help from Mike Robinson. Not that it's tough enough today on Thanksgiving for the Cleveland Browns. Well, the Cowboys have the freer trip, although Washington unbeaten at Houston, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Minnesota, and that's no mark against those teams. But when you compare that schedule against the Cleveland schedule, which we'll show after the next play, there is a sizable difference.
A marked difference.
Second, check that, first and goal now. Dallas at the 8-yard line. 11 minutes left in the third quarter. They go with 2 tight ends. Too much time. That'll cost the Cowboys 5 on delay of the game. So while they mark off the 5 yards, let's go to the Cleveland Browns schedule as referee Gene Barth with that signal for taking more than the 30 seconds. For Tigliano's Browns need more than that. It's a very important contest today. The remaining schedule for Cleveland. San Diego, hungry for a win themselves. They're 1-2 going into Sunday's play. Then at Cincinnati against the AFC champs. Then at home against the Steelers unbeaten. Then to Houston. And then they have to go to, the last game is at Pittsburgh. So the Browns have their job well defined. It's going to be tough. First and goal from the 13. Way over the head of Dorsett, who was well covered by 55 Curtis Weathers.
I think Danny White simply decided that the better move there was to fire it out of bounds. That makeup game, by the way, Coach Rutigliano said he was hoping for Northwestern after looking at the games they had. He said maybe of course, there's an interesting story out of the playoff meetings or out of the competition meetings that Art Modell claimed that he got up, went to the restroom. When he came back, they decided who Cleveland was going to play. He said, in case of a weak bladder, making for a tough schedule.
Whatever correlation might be there, but you'll learn to hold on a little longer next time. Second and goal. Tony Hill out of bounds at the 2-yard line, and the catch is allowed. It'll be third and goal.
An all-out blitz coming from the Cleveland Browns. White able to stand in long enough to get the ball to Tony Hill. Hill will start inside, freeze the defensive back long enough to get the ball in the air, and then maintain his control inside that sideline. Takes it out of bounds. Lawrence Johnson, number 48, the man over there to defend for the Cleveland Browns, but not there in time.
Boy, Merlin, this is a big play. Cleveland, if they can hold the Cowboys, keep the game within 3 touchdowns, but a Dallas touchdown would just about signal an impossible comeback for the Browns. So third and goal at the 2. Very important play for the Browns defense. Take the Dorsett, wide open is Springs for the touchdown.
Cowboys actually bring in an extra offensive lineman, move Donovan out to play tight end. They end up with 3 tight ends, and it's really a running situation. And that's what Cleveland was playing. Crossed up in that particular situation as Springs just loops to the outside and takes the easy pass. Watch it quickly here. Cosby 84 at the slot, And Springs sliding outside all by himself, picks up the easy touchdown.
Clarence Scott, number 22, played cornerback and strong safety his first year at free safety. And he went for the run. At the end, adds the extra point. And within 10 minutes and 26 seconds left in the third quarter, it's the Dallas Cowboys who are enjoying this Thanksgiving Day by 24. Budweiser, for all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Black & Decker's Workmate. When you've got a tough job to handle, it's like having an extra pair of hands. So Dallas scores on its first possession in the second half to build its lead to 24-0. Walker and Hall deep, step the end sidewinder to Hall at the 5. 15-20. Trying to squirt free, but can't at the 24-yard line. So Cleveland begins again deep in its own end, and Brian Sipe will come in as the quarterback for the Browns. 85 yards in 8 plays. The key was the 47-yard pass deep down the middle to Tony Hill from Danny White. 3.5 minutes for the score. Ron Springs with a capper on the 2-yard pass. Beecher and Logan both to the left. Tight end Newsom split right. Pruitt and Charles White behind Sipe. Draw play, Pruitt has some running room. 30, 40, and a first down. And Pruitt, with all that size, can still run a 4.4, so you get him in the open, and he can rumble almost. Went the distance on that one. Michael Downs able to make the saving tackle.
A very lonely Paul McDonald, number 16, on the sideline. And interesting decision from Artigliano to keep Sipe in the game. Sipe obviously needs some big plays to get him going here.
Intercepted for a moment by Walls and then dropped. And Walls again. He always seems to be in the right spot. A great nose for the ball. Reminds me of Jamal Wilkes, the former UCLA All-American who plays with the LA Lakers. No matter where that ball is, Wilkes seems to almost know in advance, and so it is with this young Walls who played at Grambling. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is KYW-TV3 in Philadelphia.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Irving, Texas Stadium. Dallas Cowboys 10-3-1 on Thanksgiving. Trying to add another victory, heading 24-0 lead early in the third quarter. 2nd and 10 play for Brian Sipe for the Cleveland Browns. And he can't get away from Don Smirik. Great name for a defensive lineman, Smirik, and he just did.
He certainly did. A stun on the left side of that line. Ed Too Tall Jones coming inside. Smirik breaking outside behind him. Sipe forced to run with that football. Could not get away from Smirik, who showed excellent speed on that play, Dick.
He actually outran Sipe. He just couldn't pull away from him. 11-yard loss to the 29. Dallas defense now has gone over 6 quarters without allowing a touchdown. 3 field goals last week as they beat Tampa Bay. Flag down and some early movement in that line. The game after Thanksgiving, the Cowboys have not lost the last 12 years after Thanksgiving. And they're 13-1 total in the previous 14. Danny White, 12 for 18 passing, 1 yard short of 200. Stays on the ground to Dorsett. All the way to the 38-yard line. A gain of 9. That'll put him close to 100. Tony Dorsett.
Dorsett dominating play here in this game. That particular play as well as in earlier plays. And proving again the wisdom of Tom Landry's building an offense around him. This is play from earlier in the game. Dorsett breaking outside. You see the speed outside, the acceleration, driving up toward the goal line there. That's the kind of plays he's made all day long.
2nd down and 1. This is Springs, 45-50. He has a first down at the Cleveland 46-yard line before Hanford Dixon can make the tackle. 17 yards for Ron Springs.
Dorsett also able to be used as a decoy to make room for Ron Springs. Let's continue with some of those earlier plays from the game as you get a feeling for the dominance of the running game of the Dallas Cowboys. And Tony Dorsett here through the early going. So one of the big plays off the left side of that line. Dorsett really putting on a show here, and again reminding you that he came into this game with an injury to his toe, not expected to be able to play effectively in this game.
Danny White with all kinds of time. It's off the fingertips of Billy Joe Dupree down at the 32-yard line. Now, Merlin, the thing about Dorsett, when he first came into the National Football League, everyone accepted the fact he had just blazing speed and great acceleration and moves, but he looked as if that he might not be able to take the pounding. And as he has stayed in the league now in his 6th year, he's added muscle and weight. He now carries 192 pounds, and when you see him in the dressing room without those pads on, he is just it looks like a piece of sculpture.
He also has accepted the discipline and the team role that Tom Landry cut out for him, and he's done that most effectively.
2nd and 10 from the 46. Dorsett. Oh, what a move. And he's to the 35-yard line, a first down, and he's over 100 yards today.
That's a dip that we often saw O.J. Simpson make. Watch it at the end of this, or toward the end of this run, chance to get a little bit of vintage move here. He starts to the right, cuts back to the inside, driving aggressively. Right there. Whoa. There it was. Just a beautiful little shuffle step almost. And he just broke for the extra yardage. Like I said, that's something that O.J. Simpson used to do beautifully.
And when he gets 100, the Cowboys invariably are winners. Ron Springs with a tough battle to get to the 33-yard line and a gain of 2. Meanwhile, the crowd, while it makes noise, is the smallest home crowd here in Texas in 8 years. 46,267, the actual attendance. 17,000 no-shows. 17,256. It is the holiday. Some would stay home, but we've been here on Thanksgivings before. Never seen quite so many blue seats, the empties. Smallest crowd since 1974 here at Texas Stadium. White on 2nd and 8. Drew Pearson, first down at the 17-yard line. And with the running of Dorsett and the pinpoint passing of White, it's a frustrated defense for Cleveland.
Drew Pearson showing you that great control on that particular pass and concentration that receivers must have if they're going to approach an all-pro status. Hill taking a vicious shot after he caught that football, still hanging on to the ball without any problem.
Drew Pearson, the all-time receiver for the Cowboys. To the right, Tony Hill, split left. Only Springs behind White on first down. Leading 24-0 midway through the 3rd quarter. Springs just rumbling almost at will to the 10-yard line before Robinson can weight him down with help from Eddie Johnson, number 51.
One of the things you're impressed by as you have a chance to watch that Dallas Cowboy team in their practices and in their weight drills is the physical strength. I think that as a team, they are probably the most physically strong team in the NFL.
And what was that Landry said to you as he observed his team after the 8-week layoff?
He said, I can hardly tell the difference in what they're able to do in this practice. The only thing would be a little bit of endurance. But he said as far as being able to handle everything, they can do it.
Here's a man who certainly can, Dorsett, who has 5 more yards. It's first and goal for the Cowboys at the 5-yard line.
Dick, I would think that there are other units, the offensive line in Pittsburgh, for example, that could challenge the offensive line here for physical strength. But I don't think there's another team in the league that pays as much detailed attention to a strength program as they do here in Dallas. And I think part of that because of Bob Ward, their strength coach, who is really almost a missionary for this, the importance of strength, of physical strength to the football player.
There's a sign in the Dallas locker room that reads, "The quality of a man's life is in direct proportion to his commitment to excellence." And it certainly is reflective of the attitude of this entire organization. It starts at the top. Dorsett gets away from 2 men and scores!
shown you a little highlight package of what Dorsett had done thus far in the game. Well, he added substantially to that on that particular drive and saved the best for last, much to the chagrin of that man, Sam Rutigliano.
Steps the end out of Carano's hold. Adds the extra point. 9 plays, 71 yards, and the Cowboys really moved the ball at will on that drive.
It appeared that there might have been a chance for Cleveland to stop Dorsett. Watch it yourselves as he drives to the outside behind number 70, Howard Richards. 49, Burrell, the first man to miss him. Dorsett just waves another defender aside and plunges into the end zone.
So with 3:32 left in the third quarter, Dallas big by 31.
This bud's for that first day on the job. This bud's for you, for all you do. The king of business coming through. Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. For all you do. This bud's for you.
The Mercedes-Benz dynasty of 3-liter automobiles, world champion race cars, classic sports cars, elegant personal cars. Now, Mercedes-Benz gives you 3-liter performance in this car, the 300D turbo diesel sedan. 3 liters of power so far beyond the ordinary that it outperforms every other diesel in America, if not the world. The 300D turbo diesel. The dynasty lives on.
The greatest names in the history of figure skating. The dazzling Olympic and world champion John Curry, Olympic great Linda Fratiani, the graceful Dorothy Hamill, and the marvelous Janet Lynn. A special encore performance on NBC Sports World, Saturday.
Tom Landry, not too far from his 199th win and number 3 all-time, and just a game or two ahead of Don Shula in their active rivalry. Dino Hall at the 6-yard line. The shortest man on the field takes it out to the 23, and we have a flag down on the return.
Probably against the Browns, unfortunately. It is. It's going to be an illegal block. So move them back even deeper. It would appear that we're going to get Paul McDonald, number 16, into the game.
That's Sean Makovic in the blue jacket. He was the former head coach at Wake Forest and one of the offensive assistants of Landry. And another mark of a secure man, Landry, is the fact he has no less than 5 assistants who have been a head coach, 2 of them in the NFL, Dick Nolan and Neil Armstrong.
One of the...
Number 23, illegal block in the back. First down.
Obviously, one of the important assets that Landry has is a very strong staff. And we could turn this quickly into a Dallas Cowboy commercial, but they have proved over the years that they have the most consistent winning organization around.
From the 13 then, McDonald, the new quarterback, Mike Pruitt. Despite the score, 31-0, Pruitt certainly giving it second effort and dragging tacklers out to the 20-yard line. Michael Downs, Dennis Thurman, and others. Brian Sipe, a tough day. It's been not a good return for Sipe, who came in with 45% completions and went 11 for 23. Averaged less than 8 yards a completion and had 3 interceptions.
And wrong to blame, of course, all of that on the quarterback, but the quarterback does have to stand up and look at those numbers and accept more than any other player for the failure or the success.
Close to a first down goes Charles White. Don Smirek, who played his college ball at Nevada Reno, made the tackle. 2:30 left in the third quarter. First down for Cleveland. Well, how about that? I think it's nice that the Cowboys recognize a friend.
The good father himself will be back on Tuesday night to say hello to everyone.
Well, it's Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time for Father Murphy, and I know that you've been excited about the scripts and the continuing good support that you get.
We've got some good shows coming for the folks at home, and since there are so many families out there watching us today, I'd like to encourage them to pull up a chair on Tuesday night and enjoy some Father Murphy with us on NBC.
Charles White tackled at the 34. It's another Cleveland first down. This is a time where that Dallas defense will give the short yards, protecting against the quick score as well they can afford, leading 31-0. And Tony Dorsett has been brilliant today. McDonald complete to Ricky Beecher at the 43-yard line.
On the sideline, a man who has played a role in the fortunes of both these teams, Calvin Hill. For many years, a great running back for the Cowboys. Ended his career in Cleveland and is now working for the Cleveland organization.
Graduate of Yale University, and Dallas has drafted another man out of Yale, a second-round pick, Jeff Rohr, this year, a linebacker, 232-pound linebacker, hoping he will enjoy somewhat the success that Hill offered when he came here back in the 60s. Nice throw by McDonald, and he finds Charles White, who was his teammate at the University of Southern California in the collegiate days, and that'll be just shy of a first down. McDonald went to the same high school and the same university as Pat Hayden.
Left-handed thrower, certainly has proven effective and anxious to play football. He's talking to Coach Hackett, who coached him at SC and is now the quarterback coach for the Browns. He said he wants to get in the football game, but he's a quality young man. He has not made an awful lot of noise.
These are his first passes of this season. Charles White looking for a block, gets to the Dallas 47, and a flag goes down. We may have a face mask. 6-yard gain. Nope, it's the other way. It's holding against Cleveland, so things not breaking well for the Browns.
Perhaps we'll get a chance to see it on the outside here. Check on it for you. As White drives to the outside. 43 Pruitt leading him. Fortunately, probably right there. It looked like Pruitt had a hold of him to the backside, somewhere in that stack right there. Holding call, moves the ball back. Be first and 15.
43 offense holding, still first down.
You can see Pruitt had his right arm draped over Barnes. Number 31 dragged him down. So back to the 41-yard line on a 10-yard penalty.
Timeout.
First and 15.
There must have been a couple of extra. Wow, too many Cowboys on the field. How many they got out there? 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 of them. I don't think that's fair, Dick.
Rutigliano might suggest that they tried with 10 to even things up.
Ernie Stotner, the man on the right side, one of the all-time great defensive linemen, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the defensive coordinator of these Dallas Cowboys, and a man healthily responsible for the success they've enjoyed over these past seasons.
This is our deluxe model. Triple track, 2-storm.
There are certain things you've always wanted, but for some reason you just never got them. Like the Black & Decker Workmate.
So I caught this baby on 50-pound test.
It's not like you can't afford it, but somehow you never got around to getting one.
So she did 3 spades, so I did 3 notes.
So next time you see a Workmate, instead of just longing for one, why not stop in and get it?
So I got
the Workmate Work Center. It's time you got one.
The last time Intellivision had a $50 rebate, I refused to do it. And now they're trying to persuade me to do another one. Well, perhaps I was a bit hasty. After all, Intellivision is a marvelous system, and $50 is a big rebate. So buy an Intellivision before November 28th and get $50 back from Mattel Electronics. And hurry.
$50 rebate offer ends November 28th.
From Bowling Green State University. They have the same colors as the Cleveland Browns, and that's a rare sign in the home of the Cowboys. And certainly that's been the case today, nobody beating Dallas. As the Cowboy defense has now held the opposition touchdown scoreless in 9 consecutive quarters. Pruitt on a quick hitter, and the big fullback gets to the Dallas 49-yard line. That'll bring up second down and about 6. I'd like to go back to that comment of Tom Landry's, or at least the locker room wall sign. The quality of a man's life is in direct proportion to his commitment to excellence. And he could wear that on his back, couldn't he?
He certainly could, and I've always believed, Dick, that teams tend to mold themselves in the shape of their leaders. True in the way the Dallas Cowboys devotion to excellence of Tom Landry.
And there's the man, number 54, excellence personified. Randy White stayed at home and dragged down Pruitt at the 50 for a yard loss.
We have given Randy White a few pats on the back today, and you'll see why right here. Head-to-head with Robert Jackson, just knocks Jackson backwards and gathers up Pruitt in the backfield. That's the Manster at his best.
And that is the end of the third quarter here at Irving, Texas. The score, Dallas 31, Cleveland nothing. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Have a beautiful Thanksgiving, and remember, there's always something to be thankful for.
Tonight, celebrate Thanksgiving with fame. Then,
You bug off.
as Sam finally met his match, cheers. And Tony joins his dad in the Merchant Marine. Taxes. Then Perillo's ex-wife is jailed.
You can stay in here until you rot.
Hill Street Blues tonight.
Hey, it's the best night of television on television.
Bundling up is their solution to our cold room problem.
This is mine. A portable soft heat unit. Clean, comfortable, hot water heat. Soft heat sends warm air up to mix with the cold, using natural air currents to warm the whole room evenly. With soft heat, you don't have to overheat the house to solve a...
We go to the fourth quarter. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. The score, Dallas 31, Cleveland nothing after 3 periods. There are the official statistics, and they reflect exactly why Dallas has dominated the game. Paul McDonald from the 50-yard line, 3rd and 7 to open this final period. Out of the shotgun. A nice pump, and Feature can't get to the ball at the 30. Well covered by Ron Fellows. Feature just couldn't get himself around the Dallas defender.
A very interesting play by the Dallas Cowboys. A blitz coming. They actually had Randy White dropping back in coverage on that particular play. Let's look at it quickly. You'll have a chance to see it. White drawing a block and then moving back, allowing the linebackers to clear to the inside, and finally coming forward when the ball's thrown. Thurman and Hunter, the two blitzers, driving to the inside.
4th and 7. Let's see if this is the time for the fake punt from midfield. Fellows at the 13. And he's out to about the 23-yard line. University of Missouri's leading receiver is a senior, and converted into a defensive back by the Cowboys, and a fine return man. We'll be right back in Irving, Texas. 37. He's the people's choice here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Yards.
At the other end of that run, fine tackle by Tom Cousineau. Newhouse, 1 carry last week for a touchdown. Very important play as the Cowboys squeaked one by against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Let's take a quick look at number 50, Tom Cousineau, jumping nicely over the block there and getting downfield, but Newhouse dragging him along. He bounced along there for a little bit, showing you the power of the drive of Robert Newhouse.
First down, and White going for the bomb. Incomplete, and a fine defensive coverage by Hanford Dixon on Tony Hill, as Dixon had to be tempted to turn earlier, but did not, and timed his move perfectly, avoided the flag, and broke up the play.
One of the things that Tony Hill brings to this game is great speed and acceleration, and Dixon showing some of the same. Some of the fans here feeling that Tony may have been bumped early. You see a little bit of bumping going on, but Dixon has a right to go for that football. He definitely had his eye on it in the last surge of that particular play.
He was the #1 draft pick out of Southern Mississippi last year. 2nd and 10. Now the Cowboys leading 31-0 and going for the bomb. Newhouse. And he's hit hard at the 40-yard line by Scott Nicholas. He's a 12th-round draft pick from Miami of Florida. Dick Ambrose also in on the play, 52. Newhouse now in his 11th year with the Cowboys. He is their player rep. He goes out and Newsom comes in. And Cousineau doing a little work on that right side. He was hit by his own teammate that tackle a couple plays ago.
one of the things that happens when you get behind like this, you tend to get more people hurt. And certainly that's something that the Browns don't need with as tough a schedule as they have.
White with a lot of room to run. 40, 50, and out of bounds at the 45 of Cleveland.
"15 yards on that scramble by Danny White. Showed some good speed. Lawrence Johnson, number 48, defending downfield man-to-man, had his back to Danny White and didn't see until the last minute that it was indeed a scramble. You'll maybe have a chance to see that at the lower end of your screen. Elvis Franks getting the rush to the outside. Danny sees some room inside. Now watch right at the end of the rush here. He turned around by the time. Lawrence Johnson, number 48, did turn around finally, but not until White was almost up to him in the open field.
Timmy Newsome with his first carry. And the 231-pounder who played his college ball at Winston-Salem State has sizable yardage before Clarence Scott can bump him out of bounds.
Dick, I think this is the kind of game that for Sam Rutigliano and the Cleveland Browns, you file it. You put it away and forget about it. They've got 10 days to get themselves ready for their next opponent, 10 days to get themselves back up on par, and there's no question that this is the kind of game that can only be set aside because they have not played the kind of football they had hoped to play here, and certainly have evened their schedule out in a very unpleasant way.
Newhouse on a quick hitter, and look at him fight. You'd think the score was tied the way he ripped away from that tackler to the 29-yard line.
Robert Newhouse. I've tackled him a few times. They're like tackling a bowling ball. Just tremendous strength and energy. Huge thighs. Look at him drive there. He doesn't want to go to the ground, giving the fans a little extra thrill here.
His thighs are so big that although he has a 31-inch waist, he buys 36-inch pants just to get them around his thighs and then alters the waist.
Gets one big back pocket.
Well, they corralled him that time. They ganged up, did the Browns, with Scott coming up from the secondary to help out Henry Bradley and Chip Banks. Sam Rutigliano, and if any man can lead and rally his troops, Rutigliano with his attitude can. And he did something interesting in the preseason. Before the very first game last summer against the Lions, he took the entire team down, didn't tell them, got them all on a bus, took them to a local theater to see Rocky III. And his pitch was, we've been up, we've been down like Rocky, and now we got to come back after an 11-5 year, and then last year 5-11. And maybe there's a message in all this. So after the film, he got up on stage in the movie house and gave his pep talk to his team. White, intercepted. Lawrence Johnson has his third interception of the year, the only three the Browns own, and that time White, unhappy with himself, threw off the wrong foot and the pass died.
White's sixth interception of the year, and early on Denny had some problems with sacks and interceptions, but he's had a fine day today, having an opportunity to put the ball in the end zone many times. Doug Cosby doing downfield, breaking across the middle. The ball probably should have been eaten, as Lawrence Johnson got himself in perfect position to take that one away from Doug Cosby.
Canon's AE1 program is impressing a lot of people. For the pro photographer,
it's even more advanced.
And for pro quarterback Joe Theismann,
it's even simpler to use.
No matter how tough the shot, the program mode automatically sets the camera for the best possible photo.
This Canon is super.
The Canon AE1 program. So advanced, it's simple. Canon, the photographic consultant to the National Football League.
Introducing the anti-shock sticker. Instead of shock, this sticker surprises you pleasantly because at $49.95 base sticker price, Colt hatchback imported only for Dodge and Plymouth is one phenomenal value. With a peppy MCA jet engine, room for 5, front-wheel drive, and high mileage, Colt's the right combination of size, style, and performance. And the anti-shock sticker, only on Colt.
Now, 10.9% annual percentage rate financing on all new 82 imports. See participating Dodge and Plymouth dealers for details.
This 1982 National Football League game is being brought to you by Anheuser-Busch St. Louis, Brewers of Michelob. Some things speak for themselves. By the new Chrysler Corporation, quality engineered to be the best. And by Canon, so advanced, Canon is the world's leader in 35mm photography. Cleveland Browns for the third year with the Browns. And Logan in motion, trailing 31-0. Pruitt gets only 3. Bob Brunig played at Arizona State. He and Danny White, both ex-Sun Devils, and of course they'll be rooting for their alma mater against Arizona this weekend. If Arizona State wins, you'll see them in the Rose Bowl here on NBC January 1. Michigan is shoring itself a position. There's Danny White, who was also a fine baseball player there. Same team with Craig Swan and Bump Wills. McDonald, beautiful throw to Ricky Feature and a first down at the 37-yard line. That's really threading it through the defense.
Right over the outstretched arms of the defenders, and he put a little zip on that one. Harvey Martin getting a little pressure on him from the outside. 24 first downs for the Cowboys, and it's really been their night. You'll see McDonald getting the pressure. Harvey coming from the left side right there. McDonald able to get that ball off and beautifully on target.
McDonald has a man, and Charles White backpedaling, and the crowd, you can hear their reaction. Everyone saying, hey, I could have caught that one, but they didn't know there were a lot of Cowboys around either. And Charles White feeling badly as he heads back to the huddle. Tom Landry, his thoughts about the new Super Bowl 16 team tournament.
Because I believe that by putting 16 teams into the playoffs at the end, you're going to have every team in the National Football League playing excellent football by then. And when whoever emerges in the Super Bowl are going to be the best in the NFL.
I agree that the National Football League, if indeed that's how they reach championships, the AFC and NFC have done a tremendous job in salvaging the year, making it a meaningful Super Bowl championship. Pruitt, he runs right into Harvey Martin, 79, and Ed Jones, 72. The two ends pinching in at the 35-yard line. You know, Merlin, we may be on a new record, the longest time not allowing a touchdown in a season by an NFL team. The Cowboys have not allowed a touchdown in wait a minute now, 2 months
I know where you're going, Edberg. I know where you're going with that one.
2 months and 6 days, they haven't allowed a score since St. Louis scored back in September.
That's a great defense, I want to tell you.
Touchdowns. They've allowed some points, but not a touchdown since September. Well, a case of the dropsy now. First it was White, and now the sure-fingered Dave Logan.
We could almost use that as an illustration for a film on what not to do when that ball approaches you. Watch Logan look over his right shoulder as the ball arrives. Right here. He'll take his eye off the ball. You see him just turn his head slightly to the right to try and see where the defenders were, and he's thinking of making the big run after the catch. Got to catch the ball first, then worry about the run.
Those peripheral catches are tough to make even by the outstanding receivers. Cox just gets it away. And Fellows, again, no fair catch. 25, 27. You have a feeling watching Fellows, the daring type of return man he is, we're going to see him take one all the way before this season is over. It's that kind of daring, courageous runner that every coach longs for. Timeout, 31-0, Dallas. Although he's handed off a couple, 3 times, he has not thrown an official National Football League pass. Has looked good in the preseason.
Chippewas, those aren't squirrels, are they?
No, come on, they're fighting up there in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. We've got their attention now. He tosses to the rookie, George Peoples, with a flag down. The rookie from Auburn with good yardage out to the 40, but I believe they're going to call that one back.
I think what we saw was an illegal block. Yes, getting the signal from Cowboys. We'll try and spot it for you right on the line of scrimmage. Peoples, a surprising newcomer place. Tom Landry says every time we give him the ball, he makes something happen.
He was an 8th-round pick out of Auburn. Of course, Dallas hoping he's as successful as the other ex-Tigers, George Andrews and Joe Cribbs, James Brooks, who have succeeded in the NFL. And a light rain has begun to fall.
Personal
here in Dallas.
foul, illegal crackback, number 30 offense, still first down.
Tim Newsome with a crackback block. That's a major penalty, 15 yards, back to the 17.
Unfortunately, one of the bigger gains the Browns have made all day.
Oh, that's right. Negatively, that's right, a plus 15 against Dallas. Peoples the only setback behind Hogaboom. Fumbles the snap. Still free. And Dallas has gotten every loose ball today, and they do again. Well, that's been remarkable. It's one of those days where you know if you're Sam Rutigliano that might as well go home and count your fingers and check your wallet because
well, if Sam Rutigliano and his Browns are not miserable enough already, they are now going to get soaking wet before this game is over. It's been a tough day for them, and I've been on the field with teams who have, in fact, I've been here in Dallas a time or two and been dusted that badly. And the frustration and the anger, it's often harder to play a game like this, Dick, than it is to play one where you're winning. It certainly takes more out of you, I know that.
On 2nd and long and another flag down. Hogaboom intercepted by number 50, Tom Cousineau, and he's inside the 20-yard line with his first National Football League interception. Now let's check the flag. It's against Dallas and, of course, Cleveland with its best opportunity today. This is the deepest they've been in Dallas territory all afternoon, and it's on a gift with 8 minutes left.
Well, it certainly would please the Browns to at least take that 0 off the board. They'd like to end this game on an upbeat note. I'll tell you this, they're a good football team, Dick. I think they're going to play some excellent football before this year is out, and I think they're going to dump a few of those very heavy contenders that they're going to be running into and hopefully put them up the road a little bit.
McDonald. Plenty of time, and Dan Polk, 86 from Nebraska, Omaha, can't come up with it. Well, they've shown they're an outstanding defense in their first 3 games. The Browns allowing only a total of 38 points, but Dallas has scored 31 today. And if Cleveland is outstanding defensively, then how good is Dallas? And the other factor in the shortened season with only 5 games left, 9 games total, every loss is really punishing. There's not any chance, well, we've got plenty of time. Every game is crucial.
Now we'd have to wonder, too, what this might do to the personal battle for position between Sipe and McDonald. McDonald not doing much better than Sipe here.
On 2nd down, he has a man, Dino Hall, touchdown.
Little Dino Hall, he's made some big plays today. One of the smallest players in the NFL. And Paul McDonald delivers the football on time. Dino coming out of the backfield here. Circling out, now he'll drive for the corner of the end zone against Bob Brunig, number 53. Downs coming over from his safety position, but neither of them could get there to take that football away from Dino Hall.
Hall from Glassboro State. He's told his friends who claimed he was crazy, he said, I'm not crazy for trying to play in the pros. I thought I really had a chance. And out of Glassboro State, he has his first touchdown receiving. Scored 1 rushing 2 years ago. Well, a little dent in the Dallas total, 31-7 with 8 minutes remaining.
A diamond.
1-7 the score. Now Hall takes his role as a special teams man. He's one of the wide men coming down under the kickoff. 18-yard pass. The score. Looking for the onside kick. Doug Donnelly and Ron Fellows come up to the 15-yard line. Yep, here comes the onside kick. Oh, you can't go out there and roll the ball any better than that. As Mike Whitwell, a rookie, number 81, makes the coverage.
Just a perfect onside kick executed. It has to go 10 yards. Now watch this ball right into the corner down there, just barely 10 yards down, and they pick right there. Now, he almost lost it out of bounds, just barely holding it in. A big play. Steve Wright, number 73 over there, almost had a chance at that ball. McDonald's got it now. Let's see what he can do.
He's going long for Ricky Feature. Intercepted by Everson Walls. 20, 30, 40. And to the 46-yard line, his second today, his third of the year.
Everson Walls went right over the top of Ricky Feature. Walls was 25, 30 yards up the field, and Feature's sitting in there, still on the ground, saying, what in the world happened?
Well, the man who led the NFL in interceptions last year has two today, Everson Walls.
Now, only Chrysler gives you 3 ways to save. 1, the only 10.9 financing on many new 83 American-built front-wheel drive cars and pickups. Ford and GM don't do that. 2, 10.9 financing on many new 82s.
The Cowboys used the interception to score 17 second-quarter points to lead 17-0 at the half. They have a total of 4 in the game, 2 by Walls, and the ball now at the 45 of Cleveland. Fumble.
Cleveland has the ball.
So Hogaboom having trouble with the exchange from center. He's had 2 fumbled snaps and a pass interception, and not a good day in his short time in the fourth quarter for the young man from Central Michigan. Clarence Scott recovers for the Browns.
And you'd wonder how that can happen. But a young quarterback getting into the game is so eager to get the play underway that very often he will pull out before that ball is properly snapped. And we've seen that twice here by Hogaboom, who probably doesn't take as many snaps, certainly doesn't take as many as Danny White, and has not really had that much time in the ball game.
Now, even facially looks a little like Roger Staubach when you see him under that helmet. Hogaboom. From the 45, it's McDonald's turn. The Feature at the Dallas 40, tackled immediately by Dennis Thurman. That'll be good for the first down. Feature from Mississippi Valley.
A very strong pass. Chance here to watch Ricky Feature drive his man off. Dennis Thurman right, and you see that ball zipping right into Feature's chest. Thurman, of course, playing a little bit deep, playing loose, working on the clock. They don't want to give anything deep.
So Feature, whose idol was the former Brown great Paul Warfield, has the first down at the 40. McDonald, flag down. Dino Hall hit him in the shoulder. He looked for the ball, and by the time he found it, it was already on his pads. And we have a little push and shove down there where that flag went down, and Randy White's in the middle of it. So is Don Smirek.
Joe DeLamiere, number 64, Joe D in there getting a little push and shove going on. And as much stunning, and of course, this is the time of the game, as I mentioned, Dick, where the defensive linemen really have the advantage. They know that Cleveland has to throw the football, and they're just turning it loose.
So Dallas commits the personal foul, and the 15-yard penalty will position Cleveland at the 25.
Perhaps a head slap penalty or a face mask against the Dallas Cowboys. That hit Dino right in the head. Right in the helmet, knocked him down. That looks like a piece out of the football follies.
Personal foul, illegal head slap, 54 defense, first down.
You were right, Merlin. Head slap by Randy White. A device that Deacon Jones, your former teammate, used so effectively before it was ruled illegal. I remember Deacon's cry of woe that they'd have taken everything away from him. Pruitt, like a runaway bus, is all the way to the 10-yard line. Brunig, Downs, and Dickerson teaming up to stop Pruitt after 15 yards.
Interesting, Dick, that even though the day certainly has not gone at all well for the Cleveland Browns, there's no quitting. And you notice there are only a handful of players on the bench. Their enthusiasm is still there, and Sam Rutigliano and his staff have done a good job. I have good feelings about what lies in store for them. It's going to be a tough year because of their schedule. I think they're going to play some good football.
First and goal from the 10. McDonald to Dino Hall. Charles White. for 7 yards. It'll be second and goal at the 3, and that stops the clock with 6:03 remaining in the game. Pruitt and White, a big man with power up ahead, and White who can scamper out. What a day that was in 1980 when he was the most valuable player in the Rose Bowl, 247 yards rushing, and literally the 80-yard winning drive was just White after White after White to beat Michigan.
I remember that game vividly.
McDonald. Second and goal from the 3. To the 2. Dino Hall, and he really didn't have time to turn as McDonald was pressured by Mike Hegman. Dave Logan, Charles White back into the lineup on third and goal. Paul and Doug Deacon come out. They were using Deacon as a tight end. Short yardage. Touchdown. So Mike Pruitt gets the second Cleveland score with 5:56 left in the game, and it's 31-13.
To put a little optimism into Sam Martigiano's evening as you watch the power and the acceleration of Pruitt. Runs through an arm tackle there, just squares away and drives into that end zone. He wasn't going to be denied on that one. Rather academic, Dick, but still important for the Browns. They need to get themselves back onto track, and that may help.
Matt Barr tacks on the extra point. 5 minutes and 56 seconds remaining in the game here in Irving, Texas. 31-14 Dallas.
This Bud's for that first day on the job. This Bud's for you, for all you can do. The king of business coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
This is an arcade game. This is the new Atari Super System. Arcade? Atari Super System. You may like the Super System better. It has some of the best arcade and sports games and plays every Atari cartridge. It even does something no arcade game can.
Telephone! It's Judy!
It lets you freeze the action.
Hello, Judy.
The new 5200 Super System.
Teeing up the football. His onside kick was successful on the last endeavor. Now Dallas crowds 9 men up close to the Cleveland 45-yard line. Only took a minute and a half for Cleveland to score after the fumble recovery, 5 plays. Dennis Thurman, he could go all the way. He's to the 27-yard line, and a flag goes down. As Matt Barr kicked off and then used his legs to bring down Thurman.
A chance for you to see it yourselves. Now watch Barr. He runs everybody to the right. Now he'll kick this ball back to the left-hand side. A smart play, but Dennis Thurman grabs the ball. He's virtually all alone. Dino Hall misses him. And now let's check it downfield. You see Matt coming across right there. Look at him using the legs. His drop kick the legs out from underneath him. That's a soccer move. That's a tackle in soccer, but not in football.
Number 9 of the receiving team, tripping. First down.
And that would have brought a whistle, perhaps in the sport of European football as well. So Barr at the 18-yard line, and might have hurt Barr as he's attended to. Newsom and Peoples behind quarterback Hogeboom. This is Peoples. And number 91, Henry Bradley, the middle guard, makes the tackle as we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is KYW-TV3 in Philadelphia.
With Merlin Olsen, Dick Enberg. Happy Thanksgiving from Irving, Texas, where most of the folks who did arrive, and it was the smallest crowd in 8 years, 46,000, have headed home for the feast after enjoying 3/4 of the Cowboys devouring Cleveland, leading 31-0. Cleveland's 2 touchdowns here in the fourth quarter, and Matt Barr, and reaching out with that right foot instinctively, may have injured himself. He did injure himself. It's a matter of how serious. Peoples down to the 13-yard line, and when you see a number 22 on the back of a Dallas Cowboy, even though it's been a few years, you think of Bullet Bob Hayes. Let's go back to the play, Matt Barr.
Actually, it's back to the field goal, Dick. He was bumped on the field goal, and you could tell it that he was hit on the knee. Watch it after the play is over. A bang right there on the leg. Yep, Michael Downs, the one that banged into him, and you see him grabbing his leg as he came up. Of course, he went right out and kicked again, but he may have injured his leg there, Dick.
I was on the extra point. There was no penalty flag dropped on that play. Third down, about 5. Peoples. He's close to the 5-yard line, and a first down for the Cowboys. Oh, he was around in the 8th round. There's something about those Auburn running backs. They seem to be running a factory for them in the National Football League.
They load them up with something down there before they turn them loose.
Oh, you can make a pretty good core out of just those that have come out of there in the last 5 years. Andrews, Cribbs, Brooks, and Peoples.
Well, if Peoples comes anywhere near the performance of the others, he will make the Dallas Cowboys very happy.
Cosby and Dupree bookend the line, and Peoples gets a couple straight ahead. Bradley leading the defensive charge. Curtis Weathers also in on the tackle. Don't forget, Saturday here on NBC, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, 1 o'clock in the West. It'll be NBC Sports World Special Edition Encore Championship Figure Skating, involving a list of names that truly is a Hall of Fame of figure skating. Gold medals galore, and it's a beautiful viewing experience. That's 4 o'clock on Saturday Eastern Time. Then on Sunday, a big NBC football doubleheader. Cincinnati, the AFC defending champions, will be hosting the San Diego Chargers, a rematch of the championship game, and then in the LA Raiders will be hosting. San Diego will be hosting Denver. Pogaboom trying to find Cosby. Misfire. That's that football schedule again. We have 3 early games, 3 late games as part of our doubleheader. The LA Raiders will be at Cincinnati. The Raiders 3-0 out of the gate against the Bengals. We're 2-1. Houston and New England, Baltimore and Buffalo. And then in the late games, 3:30 for NFL 82, 4 o'clock Denver at San Diego. Most of you will see that. Kansas City against the Rams, and the Steelers 3-0 up at Seattle, as the Seahawks still aflush with their upset victory at Denver last Sunday. 3rd and goal. Newsom doesn't get in as Dick Ambrose makes the hit at the 1-yard line.
Tremendous defensive play by Bam Bam Ambrose as he took that powerful running Newsom and stuffed him at the line of scrimmage. 4th down. What do you do, Tom Landry?
Oh, they'll go for it, don't you think? No need for a 3-pointer here with the score at 31-14.
And you almost have the feeling that they just as soon not score, Dick. But it's hard to tell that to the guys who are getting a chance to play out there.
Saw Pat Donovan come in at left tackle with a play, replacing the rookie from Notre Dame, Bill Podsarak. Peoples stopped just shy, and the Cleveland Browns with a solid defensive stand. Eddie Johnson, Dick Ambrose, the rookie Mark Kafensis, Keith Baldwin, a lot of young names, new names for the Browns surrounding the ball. And Baldwin, 99 from Texas A&M, a second-round pick coming on.
One thing we should mention too, Dick, and that is that few coaches could turn over a roster, put 20 new names on a roster, as Coach Sam Riccigliano did, and expect his team to be competitive. The Browns have been competitive, and as I said, will play some good football through the year, but they really have made so many changes that it has to hurt them, and it had to hurt them to come back after that layoff, because a lot of those new faces and new names were not totally familiar with the system.
starting from his own 1-yard line, actually inside the 1. And he's going to go for the bomb to Newsome. No, he's going to go this way. The rookie, Dwight Walker, all to his 47-yard line. They sent Newsome, the tight end, streaking deep down the middle, and that took 2 Cowboys. And a beautiful throw, McDonald leading Walker down the sidelines.
Let's get in Paul McDonald's back pocket for this play. Little fake inside to Pruitt. McDonald launching this one right over the top. A perfect pitch. Takes it on the inside, and Walker outruns the 2 defenders up the sideline. Picks up big yardage on the play. Thurman coming over to knock him out of bounds.
Director Ted Nathanson, Larry Cirillo, our producer, and a great camera coverage. So that's from the 2 angles. McDonald again to Newsome at the 35, and he goes out of bounds at the Dallas 31. A first down at 2:01, and so they, with 2, I believe it was 15, they got to wait 2 long plays and still stop the clock and get another play before the 2-minute warning timeout.
22 yards on this last play. Watch Newsome now. That ball is in the air right now. The ball is already coming down, well ahead of Newsome's cut. Beautiful play, beautiful unspoken coordination between the receiver Newsome and the quarterback Paul McDonald.
So 2:01 left. The score is 31-14. Dallas once leading 31-0. And McDonald trying to salvage some score respect. The blitz, that's a free ball. And you saw Dennis Thurman. He had eyes on a touchdown, but couldn't pick it up on a bounce. Mike Pruitt covered for Cleveland. Dallas has it at the 49. Dexter Clinksdale of South Carolina State, number 47, forced the fumble.
Unusual, but Clinksdale coming from the left-hand side defensively is blindside on McDonald, the left-handed quarterback, and chops him in half.
And now with timeout, here comes another one of those fantastic finishes.
Sheet of ice as Bart Starr keeps the ball and sneaks into the end zone for the score. Who made the block that sprung him? Right guard Jerry Kramer against massive Jethro Pugh. The Packers win 21-17 and claim the NFL championship.
Clinksdale forcing the fumble, recovered by Dennis Thurman. Oldham has Peoples and Newsome with him, and it's Newsome. Quick man to the 43-yard line. Ambrose and Cousineau made the tackle. 1:45 and the clock running. The coordinating producer of NBC's NFL Football is Ted Nathanson. Today's telecast was produced by Larry Cirillo, directed by Ted Nathanson. NFL 82, produced by Ron Kershaw and David Neal, directed by John Filippelli. Technical directors were Bill Toby and Neil Flagg. Associate director John Libretto. Associate producer Glenn Adamo. Associate producer NFL 82, Tom Roy. And we'd like to thank those that helped us here in the broadcast booth. Player identification, Doug Adams and John Nelson. Assisting with statistics and all the numbers, James Davis, Mitchell Lewis Jr., Bruce Jollish, and Joe Costanza with a Thanksgiving whip out to keep everyone in shape. 31-14.
261 yards rushing for the Cowboys. 78 for the Browns. And when you can run the ball that effectively, no question about who controls the line of scrimmage, no question about who controls the game. And I would think that coaches and players looking in from around the league concerned about the strength that the Dallas Cowboys have shown here tonight. And certainly that's a rather unhappy figure of Brian Sipe on the sideline. Not the kind of game that he would like to have played tonight.
Paul McDonald has had some better plays, but of course working against a lot of the reserves of the Cowboys. Dallas losing its opener to Pittsburgh 36-28, then beat St. Louis 24-7 before the strike. Came back, did not play well last Sunday, and beating Tampa Bay 14-9. The Buccaneers did everything but win. Up the middle goes George Peoples and a first down at the 39. And now it's just academic, a matter of if Cleveland doesn't want to use a timeout, letting the clock run. Danny White, the leader, starting quarterback of the Cowboys, a good day and victory. Although, as Merlin pointed out, it was really Tony Dorsett, Ron Springs, and the runners of the Cowboys that did the work, outdistancing Cleveland.
I That's interesting. You add in the passing yardage, things are much closer. But, of course, a lot of that yardage has come late and has come in the game when
Father Murphy, that a sportscaster visits the Father Murphy clan, you don't really like that concept.
we have a bucking Broncos scene for you next week. Can we get you out to the Bronco?
Are you the writer?
No, you are.
I'll just watch. I'll watch. The turnover is even, but Dallas in that second quarter turned a couple of interceptions into quick touchdowns to lead 17-0 at the half. 1:29 left. It was Cleveland's timeout. Newsom hit from behind at the 35-yard line. Curtis Weathers, he's played a fine game. 6'5" linebacker from Mississippi, number 55. He was a 9th-round pick in 79. He was second in his high school days in the decathlon in the Tennessee State Championships.
One of the things that has to be a little bit of a concern to Tom Landry is his center situation. Tom Rafferty, a converted guard, playing very well there. But I see that Landry has put Brian Baldinger in there, letting him play some center position and in case an injury should happen to Rafferty, who's been very dependable. But that's the kind of thing that could hurt these Cowboys.
Back to Landry and this Dallas Cowboy organization. When the eagerness for franchises to win, sometimes they're not very patient. And Dallas, when you consider Landry's in his 23rd year, you forget that they weren't a winning team the first 5 years. And about the third year, the fans here started to grumble. And Tex Schramm said, what can we do about it? Went to owner Murchison. He said, well, give him a 10-year contract. That'll quiet him. What a wise move that was.
Dick, if you look at these successful franchises, you look at this Dallas franchise, you look at the LA Raiders, of course, formerly in Oakland under Al Davis, you look at what Don Shula has done in Miami, you look at what Chuck Noll has done up in Pittsburgh, those are all situations where you have continuity and you have a continuing plan and strength of management that allows for successful operation. You're not changing directions every 3 or 4 days, and some franchises never seem to hit that level because they're putting new coaches in the ballgame constantly.
Add to that statistic 5 championships, 2 Super Bowls to show you the consistency of quality. Landry and the Cowboys in the last 12 years, they have been in the NFC Championship game 9 of the 12 years. And after watching them today, you wonder what it won't be 10 out of 13 as Newsom stays in bounds and is to the 6-yard line. So Newsom looked as if he was going to step out of bounds, was able to cut back and maintain possession. 20 seconds left. That may be the last play.
His feet terribly close to going out of bounds, but Newsom showing excellent speed and body control as he tiptoed down the sideline. 11, 10, 9 ticking off.
Landry on another play. There's no need to add to the lead. So Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys have won on Thanksgiving Day once again. A wave to Retigliano. A 31-14 victory for Dallas. They're now 3-1. Cleveland is 2-2. Let's go to Lynn Berman.
Thank you, Dick Enberg. 2 things. Earlier today, the Giants beat Detroit 13-6, and Cowboys president Tex